A message from the Honourable Stella Creasy, MP. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this important day to commemorate those who have been lost in the civil war in Sri Lanka. I should be grateful if you could share this message with our local community on my behalf. The requests of the Tamil community for truth and justice for their lost friends and family have been made in Parliament and to the international community for years. I have been proud to stand alongside them in this process, both in our local community and in Parliament, to echo these calls as your local MP. Since 2010, in one of my first appearances in Parliament, I have been calling for an international inquiry into the actions of the Sri Lankan government, both during the war and since. We will never forget the horror of the Mullivaikkal massacre, the most recent peak of genocidal killings against the Tamil people committed by the Sri Lankan state. More than a decade later, we know this inquiry is needed now more than ever, with the government in Sri Lanka suppressing opposition voices and many of those who face serious wartime abuse allegations appointed to senior government positions. The recent UN HRC resolution constitutes a step towards the international community taking responsibility for its role in making change in Sri Lanka. Yet there is no recommendation to pursue criminal accountability by referral to the International Criminal Court, nor does it require an independent investigation into the war crimes that have taken place. We cannot accept the notion that the Sri Lankan government should investigate its own behaviour and will therefore prosecute those responsible for these atrocities. Instead, the UK government should use its influence to ensure that the High Commissioner for Human Rights should continue to monitor and report on human rights in Sri Lanka, providing recommendations to ensure justice for victims and accountability for perpetrators. We know how little the Rajapaksa government supports the rights of those living in Sri Lanka. It even insists on the forced cremation of those who died from coronavirus, thereby disregarding the religious beliefs of the Christian and Muslim communities in the country. The persistent attacks on human rights continue, and justice has yet to be given to the Tamil community affected by the events of the Civil War. As your MP, I will continue to work with colleagues across Parliament to call for the UK government to use its influence to advocate for human rights in Sri Lanka, and for those who have abused them to be held to account.